and welcome to this training 20. Now this is a functional one, so we're focusing on learning about why our knees click and how to fix it. So if you perform any exercise and you find you have very clicky knees, it's a very common occurrence. There are two types of clicking. So if it's like a one and gone big click and then no more, that's something different. That's probably just like some air pockets behind the knee. That's what we've heard there, and it tends to happen like the first rep, or just when you hit an extra depth and then you won't hear it again. Whereas if your knees are continually clicking and cracking as you go for squats or certain exercises like lunges, then this is what we're looking at. So this tends to be the patella, so your kneecap, tends to be being pulled away from its normal area of motion. So where it should be moving normally, it's been pulled away from there, which is causing it, when it returns to its normal position, that's what that click or crack is. And that's been caused by, most likely, one of the surrounding muscles that is particularly tight or too tight, is pulling on that patella. So whenever you do perform an exercise, it's been pulled out of its normal motion, causing that click and then going back to position. Now this has been found, especially recently, that it can lead to issues down the road. It's probably not painful when you're performing, it's just like an annoyance or a bit gross when you do loads of squats and your knees clicking all the time. But it can down the road cause issues, possibly in terms of stuff like arthritis. So it's something we want to address, especially as it's been caused most likely by a muscle that is just too tight. So the fact that that's the case, it's something that we can work on and fix. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, first of all, before you kind of get into this video, what we're going to be doing is looking at all the different muscles it could be. And if you have this issue, then I'm going to leave it to you guys to kind of figure out which one it is. But I'm going to try and cover all of them so we don't leave any untouched and you're able to fix the issue. But it could be any of them. If you have an idea though, if you know your quads or your hamstrings are particularly tight, then that's probably where you should start, because it's most likely, if you know you have issues anyway, that could be what's causing it. But I'm going to go through the main muscles that cause it in order of most likely, show you a couple of exercises or stretches that you can do to try and fix it. What I recommend is doing those stretches. So I'm going to start with the quads, for example, because they are the main culprit. So once we've got two stretches for the quads, you can go and test it again. So if your knees click all the time, if you go try some squats, see how it feels. Is that knee clicking? Mine actually wasn't it there. If that knee's actually clicking, then has it stopped? And if it hasn't, then maybe that's not the culprit. We need to find out which muscle it is. With that said, let's get straight to it then. So we are going to start with the quads. So these are most likely the thing that causes it, to pull that knee out of position. We're going to start with a wall stretch, a bit of a hip flexor stretch. So the best thing to do here is come onto one knee, lean your weight forwards and get those toes up against that wall. Don't get that knee too close. We want to be able to get into a position where we are upright from our knee to our shoulder in this position here. We also don't want to be arched. We want to make sure we are able to tuck our hips up and have a nice flat back, core strong. And by tucking those hips, you should feel a big stretch in that quad here. And this is what a position you can hold. It's quite nice when you can do. You can use a sofa as well, rather than a wall. So you can rest like your shin against the sofa rather than using a wall. But this is the position we want. We don't want to be too far back. We want to be upright, tucking those hips forward on and holding that stretch here, feeling it down that quad, quite high on the quad in fact, which is why I'm showing you two today. So this is stretch one that you can do for the quads. The other one is one I do quite often for a warm-up, is just kneeling on your ankles like so. So this is going to certainly stretch nearer the knee. So this could be your starting position. Some people even struggle with this, and if you do, what can help is putting a cushion, and sitting on a cushion here gives you that bit more room and allows you to ease into this stretch. If you are able to get to here, You want to be sitting up straight, and then the further you lean back, the further you're going to extend that quad and stretch it out. You're going to feel that pull on the top of the thigh here. So what you can start to do is walk these hands backwards, feel that stretch, go as far back as you feel you can. Now there's obviously a limit to how far back you can go. You can lie all the way back, some people like to do that, but it's not necessary. It's all about feeling the stretch here. So one way you can probably feel the stretch more, rather than trying to go any further back, is lifting those hips off of those ankles, like so. So you're driving up there, and now I'm causing it to stretch even more by extending this part here, and that's causing that big stretch. You should feel it down in the knee, across the whole thigh, and right up into the hip flexor. So here is stretch 2 for the quads, like so. And again, you can hold this one for long periods of time. You can relax out of it a bit and then go back in if it's too strenuous. But once you've done that, I'm not going to do this every time, but then you can come back and test your squats. How do your squats feel? Have you still got a knee click when you perform a squat? If that's happening to you, then if it's fixed it, then great. Focus on stretching the quads out, especially when you do workouts like squatting and stuff. If it hasn't been fixed, then join me with the rest of this list. Or join me anyway, because there's some good stretches on here to figure out what it could be. Now the next culprit most likely is your IT band, which runs down here, down the side of the leg. Now this is a very common area what people like to foam roll, and getting in there with a foam roller, very painful, but a good way to reduce this tension in your IT band is a foam roller. And you can find loads of that online, but if you don't have a foam roller, then here's some stretches you can do. The first one is what, again, one I do quite often. It's a glute stretch, but it's also for the IT band. So I'll show you on this side. You're placing that ankle on top of the other knee. The hand comes through this gap you've created here, grabs the hamstring on this side and pulls it in. Now we're looking to try and keep that knee away from us, pushing it away a little bit, trying to keep the shin almost parallel to your chest whilst pulling in here. You can sit up a little bit and pull nice and tight, and you should feel this stretch on the outside here, maybe into the glute, and then on the outside of this thigh right here. So that's what we're looking for. Now some people find this a very effective stretch, some people not so much, so I've got some options for you here. So this is option 1. Option 2, I want you to rest that foot down. You're going to keep this foot on here. All we're going to do is kind of fall it to the side, a bit away from you as well. Drop it to the side, so you're on your side now with that foot still on here. If I walk this other foot forwards, this foot becomes higher and a more steep angle, trying to get it almost upright, and you can probably feel that stretch out here again there. Again, to further this stretch a bit more, you can come and grab this other foot and then really drive into that position. So you're trying to get that leg upright and feel that stretch there. Now again, some people struggle to get into this position. It's a bit more complicated. It may look a bit weird, but it's not too hard to get into. But some people don't actually feel it that much either. You can feel it quite a bit in this hip, and that may take the emphasis of the stretch away. So we've got a third one for you here. This one's actually, both of those were focusing on this side, whereas this one is on this side, even though I want to show you so you get a better look here. So what you're going to do, you're going to bring both knees up, take your arms out wide and rock them to one side like so. So we're in this position. I want your chest facing up and both knees rested down on one side. Now you can use your hand to assist. You're going to bring this top leg, grab the ankle and place the foot. If you haven't got enough room, just move that leg away. You're going to place that foot flat, and it's been supported by this thigh here. Now to emphasize the stretch, you first of all going to pull that leg up to force it as high as you can get it whilst the foot's flat. From there, we're just going to be lying flat here, and all you're going to do is gently push that knee away from you. As soon as you start doing that, you should feel a big stretch down here into that IT band, again possibly into the glute quite a bit as well. They are closely linked when it comes to stretching. This is a very effective one, so keep that foot flat and then pushing and holding that knee away in this position like so. So any three of those are great IT band stretches, and it's another way to figure out if you've got that cracking in the knee, how to fix it. Maybe your IT bands are super tight. Maybe it's not that. The next culprit it can be is the calf. So we're going to go into the calf next. The way we're going to do the calf is there's a few ways. I'm going to show you here first. Again, it's one of my common ones that you've probably done with me before, is you're going to rest down here. I've got my knee pretty much level with my toes on the other side, and I'm putting all my weight down on this knee. See how I'm keeping the heel down and trying to push my knee over the toes. I'm going to feel that stretch right up here, like so. Now this is the position I tend to go for. It's where I find it most effective on the floor. And really driving my chest down. You can reach over a little bit, but try and keep that heel down as best you can. I think, personally, I find it more effective when I do this on a chair. So if I show you here, it's the same position. I'm going to place that foot on. I'm going to try and bring my bum nice and close to my ankle here. I'm going to put my chest and my weight forward, keep the heel down, and you can use the chair to literally pull your body into that position to then further that stretch compared to on the floor. So I'm pulling myself down now. I'm getting a good stretch on that calf, and I'm in here. Very effective one, like so. I will give you another one because this is also a good one to do in a warm-up. So if you are going into a squat workout or to do some squats, then this downward runner, very effective to get the calves warm, but also loosen them off if it is causing you issues. So the way to do this is you're going to come into a downward dog. So in this plank position, you're going to lift up like so. Rather than just hold here, we're going to put all our weight onto one foot. So I could lift this foot off, but it's just supporting down by the side here next to it. And then I'm simply going to swap sides. So all my weight at the moment is pushing down into the heel on this leg, and this foot's on the toes. I'm going to transition, so this foot comes onto the toes. I'm going to push the heel down of the other foot, and then feel that stretch down here, and especially down into the ankle like so. We're going to transition side to side, and really feel that stretch. Obviously you can hold it for a long time, or if you are getting warmed up, you can go a bit quicker with it, trying to get those calves and legs nice and warm, ready for a workout. So there's some options for your calves there. Like I said, you can keep coming back, testing your squat. Is it still clicking? It may not be a one-time fix. You may have really tight muscles somewhere like your quads or wherever, but keep testing it back and seeing if we've been able to stop the clicking or cracking by stretching out one of these muscles. So number 4, we're going on is the hamstring. Now I'm going to use a band for this first one. You can just as easily at home use a towel or a blanket, whatever it is. You can use a t-shirt if you like. You see some kind of material you can get around your foot and bring up here. Once you're in this position, you're gonna, well, not once you're in this position, because first of all, let's get that leg straight. Get that leg straight and then start to pull upwards. If we start to get to here and start to bend the leg, I'll go into this in a second, it's not what we're looking for right now. First of all, with that straight leg and then pulling up here, you're going to feel that stretch in the lower part of the hamstring. The hamstrings connect into the top of the knee here and down into the glutes and into the hips there. So this bit, keeping this leg nice and straight, you're going to feel it right in here and stretch out there. You can just hold here. What you like to do is you like to go up and down, so you do actually get a bit of motion with the higher part, the top part of the hamstring as well. And you can go for reps like this, or you can just go for that hold. Now, like I mentioned before, if you put a bend in that leg and then pull it in, we're not getting any real stretch on this part anymore because that's been flexed, so there's not much tension here. But it allows me to pull in closer, as long as I keep it about 70% extended. Pull in closer, you should feel it in the top of that hamstring there.
So if you do have tight top hamstrings, then you can come into this position instead. I don't really think working these parts up and down, but holding that position, you should feel that stretch there. And you should consider the hamstring like that. I like two main parts. You can cut it in half because half it connects, well, it all connects together, of course, but there's two connection points. There's one in the back of the knee, there's one down into the glutes. So that is number one for the hamstring. Number two, if you should have something at home that you can use, but here's another one you can do. Best way to get into it is be in this strider position first. So look how far I've got that knee back. We don't want it too far, but we do want it a bit further than normal, so we've got space to sink back. Hands come flat to the floor inside this leg. Now what you're going to focus on here is keeping this big toe down. All the fingers stay connected to the floor just in front of the foot. From here, my hips or bum is going to sink backwards, but trying to keep it high as well. I'm trying to lift it as I sink backwards, whilst keeping these connection points, and you'll start to feel a big stretch down the whole of the hamstring, especially in that higher part, in this connection point here, and pulling down that whole hamstring like so. You can sink back and forward in this stretch. It's a very effective hamstring stretch here. Obviously, if you do have one clicky knee and one not, I do still recommend doing both sides on all these exercises. We want to keep nice and even on both sides as best we can. But that is your stretch one for hamstrings. So that's your stretch two. You can kind of adjust this one though. So some people prefer to be here. So come upright first, make sure you're nice and upright, tucking those hips. Rather than having a bent leg, I'm going to straighten that leg and put it on the heel. Then from here, I don't want to just round forward. What I want you to do is try and lean from the hips. I'm not going to lean forward with my chest, I'm not rounding with my head. Keeping this straight, leaning forward with the chest and hinging from the hips, and you'll feel a big stretch. Again, you're probably going to feel this one more toward the knee. So a very good one to combine with that first one we did. But you can use blocks to rest, you can try and reach, or you can just hang in the air and control it. Either way, we're looking to emphasize that hamstring stretch down here, okay? So again, a very good hamstring stretch there. Finally, the glutes. The glutes can play a part into knee cracking, or crepitus, I believe it's called. So if the final one we're going to look at is the glute. Now, like I said, these are also good, great IT band stretches. And because IT band is a major cause, doing these as well may really help with your issues that you've got with the knee. So let's come into these final glute stretches. We're keeping it nice and simple. One of my favorites, we're going into a pigeon stretch. So in your press up position here, you're going to bring a knee right into the middle. That foot, keep some space there so it can easily kick through to the other side. Then we're going to drop our hips. Notice how this knee is not nice and high. I'm driving it right back, so I'm sitting down into my hips. I'm feeling that stretch there. Now there's three positions I recommend here, and I choose the one where you feel the stretch most. The stretch itself, I'll show you on this side. We're looking for it to be feeling it into this glute here. That's where you should feel it, especially here, possibly running down the IT band too. But this is where we want to feel it. Position one is upright, trying to keep that chest up as tall as you can. Position two is on the forearms. This feels like because you can drive your body weight and chest down into this thigh, you may feel it a bit more. And option three is fully extended and pushing your whole body weight down into it. Which one's the best one? That's up to you. Which one do you feel it most on, feeling that stretch in the glute? But there are your three options there. We do have an advanced stretch. So rather than just bringing that knee up to the middle, you're going to try and bring that foot up to that other hand, and rather than keeping that hand there, you're going to place that hand then on that foot. This knee, you want to try and keep level with your ankle. So now that shin is parallel to you and your chest, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to be in this position here, like so. Feel that stretch. So if I show you again on the other side, bringing that foot up, making sure that knee is level with it, and then this is where you're feeling that stretch
big stretch here like so. So I refer to this as an advanced pigeon stretch. So feeling that stretch there. And this is very similar to the last stretch I'm going to show you, which is using a chair. It's literally the same exercise, to be honest, apart from you doing it on a chair. So you could do it on a sofa, bed, or chair like this. So one foot on its side like so. You're going to bring that knee forwards and you can bring that hand on top of that foot. Now again, all I've done is repeated that exercise. My knee is level with my ankle. I'm using the chair as support. Now I'm looking to sink those hips down. See how I'm keeping my back flat, my chest up. I can feel a big stretch in this area here, in the glutes, down the IT band as well. Now from here I can lean forward slightly. Again, trying to lean from the hips, not trying to just tuck my head, and feel that stretch there. Cool, right, there is a load of stretches for you. They are the 5 main culprits of knee cracking, so give them all a go. If your knee's still clicking after it, then that's very likely because it's probably not just a one-time fix. But if we have fixed it straight away, did you notice which one it was? Let me know if you did, and hopefully this has helped you on your way to fixing that knee click, whether it's getting warmed up or generally just working on that muscle group that's probably particularly tight for you. But if this is your problem, and even if you haven't fixed it today, hopefully you've gained something so you know possibly how to fix it with a bit of work. And any questions, just message them over. But yeah, I hope you got something out of this one, and I'll catch you next time.